black and eyes, make my way into your mind, just to know what you knew. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with a nasty bad. I'm in the dead of the night. Let the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in the smoke, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with a nasty bad. In the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in the smoke, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with a nasty bad. In the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control. Let the darkness take control. Darkness take control. May the darkness take control. Take me in the smoke, breathe me in and let me go. Sink to your heart to find you. Open up your eyes till you're blinded by the lies, so you can see what you do. Restless every time we start locking eyes. Lost control. Oh, it's paradise with a nasty bad. In the dead of the night. Teardrops on the floor. The pain is over. Feel the darkness take control.
Hello everyone, and start again. Hello everyone, and welcome back for another Sunday night stroll. And this time we are playing the Stanley Parable, but we're playing it properly, not the demo that we did last week. Now this game is like heavy dialogue, because obviously the whole thing is all dialogue. So as normal, I won't speak over the dialogue so that you guys can, can hear the narrator talk throughout the thing. Now, there is multiple endings to this game. I don't know how many there are. When I did my sort of like test earlier on, just to make sure I had the resolution and what have you all set, I played it for about 15 minutes. And within that 15 minutes, I managed to get one of the endings. So, I mean, if you want, we can recreate that path that I took. There was another path that I sort of like half went on, and it eventually chucks you into a Minecraft world. But I didn't conclude that one there. What we'll sort of like do is we'll what's that, 19 endings to choose from, Chrissy, in this one. And I've definitely seen one then. But what we'll try to do is we'll go through it, like when the choices come up. You guys can shout in with the choices as we go, and we'll try and explore at least a few of the variations. I don't know how long the longest variant is. We shall find out. And evening focus, you're here way too early. I mean, the stream's just turned over 7 minutes on my screen. Right, let's bring up the desktop audio. If it is too loud, let us know, and I'll adjust the adjust the narrator's volume forward. There's another loading screen.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-ending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
There we go, we've got control now. So is that too loud, or is it what's that on there? Oh, I've just seen in the chat that you've redeemed 2 of the 8 8s for the Stanley Parable.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
Try to see what's on the screen. Is that what you do, Chrissy? Though, you sit in the office and tap the keys when the orders come in. Shame we can't like zoom on this. Just having a little scout around to see what we can see through all the windows. Someone playing cards on that one. Is his dialogue all right? Is it? Oh, that's all right. It's deafening in my ear. I keep on having to tap it to turn it down a bit. So as we go through this first bit though, what's everyone's egg counter up to? Can we see what's on that notice board there?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I want to go left or right then. So 13.5 and 36.5. You guys want to go left? Hi Zelda, you alright there? We've just started on the proper Stanley Parable. We did the demo last week, and today we're having a go of the actual proper game.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
Have a little rummage around these. What people want. Things, money, more money. What else have we got on these wall panels here? More water coolers. What was that? You want a copy of that first slide? Is that the one how not to get fired? I don't know if it rotates around. We'll have to keep an eye on the panel when it changes. Let's have a little scout around here though. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but the people out the back are having an industrial revolution. I don't know if you can hear them banging and hammering and drilling and sawing in the background. Is it going to come back round to that slide? I don't actually know how many slides there must be in this. Let's see, we'll give it a few more seconds before we'll move on. There you go. Clip that. How to solve a dispute with workers. Let it all ball up inside you. Take it out passive aggressively. Anyway, we'll carry on through here. But as normal, when the narrator's voice comes on, you know, I won't ramble over that so we can all hear what he's saying.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
When I did my test one earlier on, I went downstairs, and that leads to doom. Which way do you want to go, up or down? He says up. Oh, and Royal T says down. Do we have anything to break the tiebreaker? Nope. Well, we'll go to our doom, and we'll try it up on the next attempt.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss. Admitting he had left his post during work hours, he might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. "I'm dreaming!" he yelled. "This is all a dream." Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment and my wife and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay. Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
So that is one of the endings. There we go, we're loading back into the game there now. We're back at the start of the office there. Yeah, I'm just seeing the chat there as well. Yeah, you could have been all wrapped up in bed, Royalty, if you had just phoned in sick. We keep telling you. Right, let's head on back through now, and let's see if we want to make some different choices. So we know that one there leads to our doom. So let's go through this way.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Well, do you want to go left or right? Wait, you're saving your sick days for a full weekend off, Royalty. We go left again? Right. So we've already had a little look in the windows here as we went there.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
There we go. Tips for not getting fired again.
Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
And this time, we'll go up.
Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Locked. Nothing on the screen.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Was there an option to open the doors at all? I'll just make sure. I'll press buttons around just to be sure there wasn't some more dialogue that we could have maybe missed. That's a nice picture, isn't it? So you've got polluting factories. Just trying to see what it says on there as well. Yeah, let's see what's through here. Yeah, it's undoubtedly a trap. A button, but it's not the 8 button. I wonder if that's what happens when you get to like the best ending, is it's just an 8 button that you press and it says 8.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
This is where the xenomorph jumps out.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
You wish to enter the mind control facility or escape? We've got another 8 redeemed. We want to escape.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Oh well, let's keep walking.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track.
Where
At
with the
this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
There's some kind of a meat grinder, maybe. Loading.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise, he reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
But apparently he's alright. When I think of meat grinder royalty, I always think of Merowyn's meat grinder from the Outside Xbox's Dungeons and Dragons adventures.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish? When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
Miniature of the office. What else we got over here? Filing cabinets. Oh, there's a close-up what's on the screens. There we go. We can get a close look at these for later. Trying to make out what it's... I can't really see, it's too bright. There's no 8. We have the credits. Right, let's see what's it's like a museum of all the assets in the game. Warzone? What levels are the... What ending is this with Tron stuff in it? Alien base? Oh, the Xenomorph must be in there. What else have we got? Right, let's see what's in this one here. It's like a collection of like all the game's assets in one place. These big levers, do they work? What's that one there? Oh, you guys are chatting about the what do you call it? The podcast. Even I get me words out today. Let's see. I'm not sure which way. Alright, I assume that's the exit over there. Right, let's just have a quick scout in these last little rooms. And that's the bit there where we came up. Right, I think that covers all of the rooms here. Oh, or maybe there's that one just across the hallway there. Ooh, a button. So it's a button that deliberately goes away as soon as we get close to it. Oh, are you away now, royalty? Back to work for a couple of hours. Mind control facility. Oh, before you go, royalty, shall we press your favourite button? We'll head back upstairs now and we'll go through that last door, which will restart, and then we'll make a whole load of more bad choices. See which other ways he can be gruesomely killed.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free. Can you see? Can you see how much they need one another? No, perhaps not. Sometimes these things cannot be seen. But listen to me. You can still save these two. You can stop the program before they both fail. Push escape and press quit. There's no other way to beat this game. As long as you move forward, you'll be walking someone else's path. Stop now and it'll be your only true choice. Whatever you do, choose it. Don't let time choose for you. Don't let time
We got flattened again. Yep, he's dead. Is it going to return us to the game, or is it... is this one of these ones where we wait it out, maybe? And go into a fresh one? Or should we actually press escape and start another one? We'll click on begin the game again then, just so we can try an alternative death. Here we go.
Stanley knew the office layout like the back of his hand. It was only a matter of time before he found the others, wherever they were. Just a matter of time. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Are we wanting to go left and go to the mind control room? Or right and try something new? Gonna go right this time.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Here we are.
Yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
When I... Oh, we might as well go through this one.
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
What I'll do is this is sort of the way that I went when I did my little like test earlier on, trying to get like the levels right and what have you for the sound and what have you. I'll try and retrace some of those steps because it was quite funny.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door.
Yeah, the narration's brilliant, isn't
Perhaps you
it?
misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
Blue.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door. All
Blue.
right, fine. Go ahead, Stanley. You want to know so badly what's out there? You want to find out what lies at the end of this road you've chosen? Well, don't let me stop you. You see? There's nothing here. I haven't even finished building this section of the map because you were never supposed to be here in the first place. Broken rooms, exposed developer textures. Is this what you had wanted? Was it worth ruining the entire story I had written out specifically for you? Do you not think I put a lot of time into that? Because I did. And in the end, it was all for nothing, because this is what you wanted to see. Help me here, Stanley. Help elucidate these strange and unknowable desires of yours. What would have made this game better? What did you want to see? Vehicles? Skill trees? Work with me. You've given me absolutely nothing so far. Tell you what, let me take a stab in the dark at a new design, and you can give me some feedback. There we go. A third option. This already feels leaps ahead of where we were before. Go ahead, Stanley. Take it for a spin. Okay, I'm going to stop you there. Now, tell me about your experience with this new version. Would you say that the game benefited from allowing you more choices? Feel free to be honest. I'm looking for some real critical feedback here. Oh, of course. A 3. Really? Maybe next time we can get you to form an actual opinion, you know? Any level of critical thinking or engagement with your surroundings? Does that sound good? Think we can do that? Yes? Wonderful. Here, based on the data from your previous playthrough, I've compiled a new version. And to be perfectly candid, I think I've knocked it out of the park with this one. Let's take a look.
Orange door again.
Now, would you say that competitive leaderboard helped you feel motivated to keep walking through doors? Again, honest answers, please. Hey, I nearly forgot. I've got a prototype of a new game I've been working on, and now would be a lovely opportunity to give it some playtesting. You wouldn't mind taking a look at it, would you? Perfect. Let me boot it up.
Loading screen again.
In this game, the baby crawls left towards danger. You click the button to move him back to the right, and if he reaches the fire, you fail. It's a very meaningful game, all about the desperation and tedium of endlessly confronting the demands of family life. I think the art world will really take notice. But of course, the message of the game only becomes clear once you've been playing it for about 4 hours. So why don't you give it 4 hours of play to make sure it's effective? Be sure to keep notes on your experience. You heartless bastard. Did you do it because you hate babies or purely to spite me? Because if it's the latter, well, I don't know what to do. I'm completely out of ideas. I can't think of a single thing that might improve the experience for me. I'm not even going to try. I'm out, I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. Your input was extremely valuable. Oh, hey, since my game was so awful, why don't we play someone else's game, just to ease the pain? Let's see. What do we have here? Yes, this seems like it'll work. Let's give it a shot.
Yay.
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Well, I'll say this. I'm done making things for you. From now on, I will only create to fulfill a greater artistic purpose. Watch this, Stanley. I'm going to build a house. This will go here, no, here, and then... Let's see, what does it need? Yes, of course, and just to finish it all off, yes, it's complete. I made this, Stanley. Look at it. Gaze upon my work of art and feel ashamed at your own inadequacy. But you've only seen it from the outside. You've only gotten half the experience. Please, step inside and make yourself comfortable.
Yep, 10 out of 10 build for this one, isn't it?
Grand? Isn't it perfect? It could only be better if... Wait, that's it. We must rebuild it out of diamond. Diamond everything. Yes. Come along, Stanley. We have to go mining.
We're going to turn it into a diamond house now.
Oh my, it looks like it's going to get a bit dark. Have you brought a light? Oh, no. This is far more open-ended than I had in mind. I'm looking for something more narrow and linear. Something that makes you feel utterly irrelevant. This won't do at all. 1 out of 5. Even the diamonds couldn't save this one. Okay, new game.
Speedrun time.
Yes! I don't even know what this game is, but I love it. You, trapped in a glass box with no way out, listening to me talk. Oh, it's inspired. I couldn't have done it any better myself. What is this game even supposed to be? I can't figure it out. Okay, now I'm curious. Let's go find out what the hell this is.
Can't jump though, so I can't.
Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius. No, actually, you know what? I think that's plenty. I really don't care much to see you stumble through any more of these games, and I highly doubt you're any wise.
Yeah, we're just starting the speedrun there. And this is where I actually turned off after I did my sound check, so I have no idea what goes beyond this path. Like on this one here. All I know that is, if you walk over here, that's where I fell off, and that was where I exited the game, because I'd gathered enough data for doing the stream. I don't know if there's anything other than falling off. Dead end. Try passageways at random and see what we get. See if the narrator comes back in, or if we're just meant to hang on light at the end of the tunnel. The narrator return. Can't interact with anything on here. The door didn't close behind us. Maybe this is like a purgatory. Oh, maybe it's not.
I wonder what he found. If what he wanted was to be the leading man in his own story, well, perhaps he's gotten it. Down in wherever he is right now. I wonder if he's happy with his choice, and if he's learned the heavy cost that comes with it. He'll understand soon what I was trying to tell him. He needs me. Someone who will wrap everything up at the end, to make sense out of the chaos and the fear and the confusion. That's who I am. That is what I mean to this world. Oh, yes. Yes, I'll be back. There's no other way. Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
There we go, we've got a loading screen now. I'm guessing that when we had that other long black screen, if we had it held out for like a lot longer, it probably would have loaded something. Because each of a time it's gone like to a loading screen. But let's continue.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Which paths do you want to take this time? We're going left or right here.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
Got a mouthful of water whilst we're choosing. I don't know what it's like for you guys, but it's absolutely boiling here tonight. Gonna go right again.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes, this room. What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous, gorgeous room. Thank goodness Stanley had taken this detour on his way to the meeting room. Life without having experienced this room was now too horrible even to consider.
I thought it was sort of like I should have really had a notepad next to me, and I could have jotted down the routes.
Yeah, but eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Are you wanting to go this way, or are you wanting to go that way? Left or right? Going through the first door?
And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Now we're going straight ahead, or are we pressing the button? Oh, what's that? Is that left for the button? Press the button. Oh, loading screen.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here it's, left.
Can we not go right? No.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake. No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please?
Check his notes.
Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay.
Is that the
okay,
Konami
yes.
code?
I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
And where does that garage door go? Ooh.
this isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes. Okay. We just have to get back to, oh. Who am I kidding? It's all rubbish.
Fired.
The story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, hmm? Okay, from the top.
So now we know where
All
that
this
route
code
goes.
had gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Are we going left or right at the first one here then?
Stanley, wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Oh, did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay then, it's an adventure. Come, Stanley, let's find the story.
Ooh, which doors do we want to go through? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Or number 3.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again? Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again, but it's got to be better than this. Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
It's all designed to go back to the same place.
All of his
Try
code was
again.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
No doors.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from. Why don't we go back the other direction and see if we missed anything?
Make sure none of those doors are open there.
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait, never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps.
That was somewhere completely different again.
Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations! I know you put in a lot of hard work, and it really paid off, so good job. Oh, no, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time, I have to restart.
Let's see if it actually Oh, hang on, what we got here?
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable adventure line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Follow the line. Reminds me of a Penguin to Madagascar episode where
The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay. Now, if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office, in fact, the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Oh, crikey. Adventure music. Follow the line.
Cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything.
Study the fern. Yeah, whoever painted this route definitely wants locking up.
Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell?
Oh, we're back here again.
No, not again. Line, how could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
Restart. Oh, welcome to the stream there, Pant. We're just playing the Stanley Parable tonight. We did the demo last week.
I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Yeah, it's well, we're down for about an hour, and it's it's definitely a fun game. With these sorts of games, though, when the dialogue's on, I try not to talk over it.
Just me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it could be anything. What do you want our story to be? Go wild. Use your imagination. Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it.
As I was saying, that I try not to talk over the narration, so it's so that you guys can hear like the full crazy story as we go.
Oh no, not you again, Stanley. I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Let's follow the line. As I was sort of saying before like the dialogue kicked in again, when I think of Follow the Line, I think of one of the episodes of The Penguins of Madagascar, where Kowalski had his brain shrunk, and to keep him occupied so he wouldn't cause any trouble because he'd like lost all of his intelligence, they drew a circle and made him follow the line.
A choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the story is in our control. How important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Speaking of walking in circles, following a line.
Each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere, the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
We've got another door there. Just back up there as well, the if you like Portal games, we play Portal quite a lot. Because we're trying to do the we're trying to get our speed run to 20 minutes. We've got it to, is it 32, Chrissy? Is that what our best one so far has been? 32 and a bit?
What's this? The confusion ending. You're telling me that's what this is? It's all one giant ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really how all this goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget? Well, what if I don't want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well, who consulted me? Why don't I get to decide? Why don't I get a say in all of this? Is it really? No, it can't be. I don't want it to be. I don't want the game to keep restarting. I don't want to forget what's going on. I don't want to be trapped like this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it. And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait. You know, I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime...
In the meantime, restart. It's safe to come out of the office this time.
All his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Now, let's see what happens when we get to the choice room this time.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
We're going to go left or right. What's that there? On one of the ends we can go back. Not on this one though. But you want to go left and see what happens this time. So the left was to the meeting room, and eventually could lead to the mind control room, wasn't
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Does that stay in the broom cupboard? I don't know if we can get... Oh, that door's closed. Next time we pass through here, we'll try that. We'll just like stand in it for ages and see what happens. Here we go.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned
Can you remember what the code was?
Not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded that Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Oh no, not more music. Sounds like something from the 80s.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Ooh, this is new. Let's push the button. But there's no 8 button though. I'm quite disappointed. How many more 8s have we got to redeem left on the stream? There can't be that many. Let's see where we are
straight
now.
ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
We've got another 8 redeemed. See, I bet there's some people that have probably translated those numbers.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens.
Oh, we're back in this room.
What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
This was up there where we came in before, wasn't it? Buttons.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
I wonder if they chose the number 8 as being like the 8 game. I wonder if they were Terry Pratchett fans.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Into the lift.
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Just making sure there's not an 8 button. These buttons are broken. I take it we're going to the power facility, but we have to press lots of buttons before we do that. Ooh, more buttons. What we've got over here? Plenty 10s, there's homes, there's stops and refreshes, but no 8. How are we supposed to get the good ending if we can't find an 8 button? Oh, is that a button? 1, 2. Is that affecting any of that? I was wondering if that might have affected those lights up there for a second. There's another button up there to press. Four. Was there a 3? We had a 1 and 2. I don't recall seeing a 3. Of those sort of like style buttons. What is this? Have you seen the movie Logan's Run? This reminds me of Carousel from the from that film. Right, let's go into the power room. Here's a 5.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Do we turn it back on or do we turn it off? That's the next question. On.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley.
It's gone mad.
You're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say, happily ever after.
Boom. Loading again. We're back to the office.
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
I wonder if there was, if I had found all the buttons in the right order. I wonder if that would have done anything to the countdown thing.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
I'm going to go left or right? Oh yeah, that's right. I completely forgot about the cupboard, Chrissy.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his oh no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Having a drink whilst we're here. So before, it's absolutely boiling here tonight. And I don't know what they're doing, having their industrial revolution at this time of night out the back as well. But I assume that some of it's picking up in the microphone. Is it boiling where you are and all, Chrissy? Let's see, how long should we wait in here then to see if anything happens? Is there anything we can interact with in here? See, I think because this must count as the same like playthrough because of the room that we were just in, because his dialogue changed when we stayed in here from what it was when we first went in. I don't know if we will actually get anything. We might have to do an actual proper restart of the game to get him to say something different if we hang around in here. But I don't think he's going to actually do anything on this one. Carry on.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Yeah, I should have had a notepad so we could actually... Because the question is, where is the actual endings, I suppose? Because sometimes when it restarts, obviously... Oh, hang on, the bathroom's opened up. Extreme Bathrooms magazine. Nothing else to click on in here. Oh, this one. Ooh, somewhere else. And a lift. see where this one goes. I'm slowly sliding off my chair. In this area, well, we clicked on, when we did that very first time we came up here, we clicked on the toilet door and nothing happened, so I think this is another variant from the progression we've had in the previous chain. I think next time we do this, we'll have to do it with a order now. We'll have to do it with a notepad and try to track the endings as we go. Might as well press the lag button whilst we wait. You can hear the narrator humming in the background. The lift went nowhere, it just vibrates. We're gonna have to look at the achievement for this game, aren't we? On the off chance there's some like weird achievements for some of the rooms.
Okay, I think we all know the drill by now. Blah, blah, blah. Dark secrets, the keypad. Stanley pushes some buttons. Oh, hey, look, it's a new passageway. Quelle surprise.
Oh well, that was quick. Another loading screen. Yeah, Chrissy. He's trying to like rush you through the dialogue, isn't he?
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
It's so tempting to do the crushy route.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Let's see if we can find the buttons in order this time, shall we?
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them,
What's going on that screen?
wanted in this place where freedom meant nothing.
That one there is a mirror of that one. So they didn't do too many variants.
Mind control facility. It was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Got 1 and 2. 4's up there. Now where is number 3? There's a number 10. Number 10. Nothing on that one. Oh, another number 10. Aha. And press number 4. I don't see any other numbers higher than 4 though, other than the 10. What did that do? Unless we can do that to, unless it's if when the bomb goes off.
And when at last he found the source of blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Now is that an ending? Oh, beat the game. We just got an achievement popped in the corner of the screen. And now we're back in the office. What we do is we'll make a dash for the
Even now,
cupboard.
Stanley's office was a distant memory. What did it look like? There was a computer, perhaps, and a painting. Was it a painting or a photo? He could no longer recall.
That's different dialogue again. So have we really ended?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
going into the broom closet this time.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office. Here's the door, just go.
So just move us along. Next loading screen. yeah, Chris, you
Stanley
just
walked
go.
straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
So what other alternative is there down here?
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What
have to wait
horrible
for this to
secret
come
did
up.
this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals
Here it
reduced
comes.
to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Call the next lift.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Nothing happened. Just thought I'd check to be sure. Zoom across here, and we'll see if there's any difference this time. Oh, hang on, there was another 5. We missed a 5. Hang on. Is there a 0 button? 0521. Or is this supposed to be like something that you would do when you were, you know, trying to disable the thing? So where's the 0 button then? There's the 3. So now that's the 5. Maybe it's just down there. This whole thing a giant 0 memories? Nope. Right, can we see a 0 button anywhere? Nope, I think we're out of luck. I'll head up here and we'll see if there's any other dialogue changes.
And when at last he found the sword, blackness, and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened,
So I think that's
reflected on
the
how
same
many
loop
puzzles still
than that one.
Where had his
But I think we'll leave it there for today. We've done quite a few loops, I believe, but I think next time we're going to have to take a notepad with us
But as sunlight
so that we
streamed
can
into the chamber,
track our progress as we go.
for it was not knowledge or even power that he
But
had
we'll let this particular ending roll down again, and we'll see if there's any
no longer would anyone tell him where
anything at all different just until we land in the office, which will only take an extra minute or so.
whatever life he lives.
Then we'll go and see if anyone else is streaming, and we'll
That was all.
go and harass them for a little bit.
It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door.
Here we go. And the cutscene
Stanley
takes
felt
over.
the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
And then fade to white. Right, let's go and see if there is anyone to go and raid. Escape there. That'll minimize. Try and figure out which window that Twitch is going to open on. Get ready to press mute. It's already pressed. Right. Let's see who's on, and we can decide who we want to go and. Oh, we've only got a choice of Angry Joe. That's the only person that we have on today. So I hope you enjoyed that one there. I do plan to return to this, but with a notepad next time. Trying to think what is tomorrow. Oh, tomorrow night we are what is it called? Broken Sword, because tomorrow night's Monday night, so it's point and click night. And we left the story for tomorrow. We had we done Ireland last week. We finished off a few extra areas of Paris, and we were just about to leave for Syria. Yeah, that's no problem. I'm doing the same tonight because well, you know, like not staying up like super late tonight because we're going home tomorrow. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. And thanks for everyone that else that came in there. I've just seen as well that you away there as well, Zelda. So please remember to catch this one because this is quite a funny game as well, isn't it? Was it? Yeah, 2 a.m. again then. You're a bad influence, Chrissy. What can I say? Royalty agrees with me. But anyway, we'll start this raid up so that you can all get your points. You're one step closer to your mumbo moustaches. So thanks for watching, everybody, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you for joining me today. If you are enjoying our journey and would like to see more, then please rate, comment, favourite and subscribe in whichever manner your chosen platform allows. If you are joining us on Twitch, Mixer or YouTube, where we have loads more for you to watch, from our live streams to all our episodes across our various series. You can also drop by and say hi over on Discord, where we chat about everything from Minecraft to books and movies to tabletop games. But most importantly, thank you very much for watching and have a lovely day.